Okay, we should be live. Hello, everybody. My name is Scott Skiba. I'm the Executive Artistic Director for Cleveland Opera Theater. Welcome to our Friday Masterclass online series. Today, I have the pleasure of being the Masterclass teacher, and I couldn't be more excited to welcome our two guest artists today. We have both sopranos, Giuliana Bozza and Baajah Mohammed, joining us today. We're going to be working on some character, some interpretation, and delivery of some opera arias, and so we'll get to dig into that a little bit. Each of the artists will introduce themselves and the piece that they'll be singing before we get started, and we'll work for about a half an hour or so with each one, and then maybe do a quick wrap up at the end with a couple of questions. So thank you everybody for joining us. Baajah, I'll put you on mute, hide your video, and then Giuliana will get you to set up your piece here. So go for it. Take it away, Giuliana.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Giuliana Bozza. I am currently studying to get my Master's of Music at Indiana University Jacobs School of Music. I just finished my first year, and I got my BM degree from Baldwin Wallace University Conservatory, which is how I know Scott. And today I will be singing Puccini's Quando Men Vo. And we go? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's from La Boheme.
All good.
Which you guys probably know.
All good. Great job. Great job. Feeling good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many these coachings or lessons, master classes have you done online?
I think I've had one coaching a couple of coachings with the coaches at IU.
Hmm.
And I've, of course, had my weekly lessons with my voice teacher.
Hmm.
We were working on some Rossini for cattle calls and then some arias for my audition package.
Hmm.
And of course, now that classes are over and summer is starting, has started, we're pushing back to like every other week or every couple weeks instead of a weekly lesson.
Hmm.
But yeah, It's been fun.
Yeah,
Zoom.
but a little bit of an adjustment, right? I mean, there's an inherent separation in something that we do that is so connected between artist and audience and singer and pianist and all of that. So there's a certain amount of
Yeah.
you know things that feel a little removed. So among all that, I
Yeah.
think you did a really nice job just connecting and just being present and being in the moment. So good for you with that. And now let's dig into
Yep.
it a little bit. So
Okay.
tell me a little bit about your character. Her name is
Musetta.
who's Musetta?
So she sings at the cafe. She's a cafe singer. She's super beautiful. She's super flirty. She can get what she wants. And right now she's sort of using this aria to like tease and get the attention of Marcello, who
Hmm.
is someone that I've dated before. We've been off and on. And I'm basically using this song to kind of rub it in his face and
Hmm.
say, I can get anyone I want.
Hmm.
Everyone stares at me, and basically I know you're pretending that you're not missing me right now and that you're not going to tell people, but I know that inside you're dying of jealousy right now because
Okay,
I get the attention of everyone.
right. And you're singing this for whose benefit?
My benefit?
Your
Or
benefit, but who are you're singing it to? Are you singing it to Marcello? You're
yes.
purposely trying to make him jealous. And to your benefit, I mean, I like that perspective. To your benefit, because you're trying to get something from him, right?
Mhm.
Ultimately, what is it that you're looking for? As Musetta, you want what from Marcello in this moment?
I want his attention. I want him to come back
Okay.
because this old guy with a lot of money, he's not really what I want.
Hmm.
I want Marcello to realize what he's missing, you
Right.
know?
Okay. You want Marcello to realize what he's missing. I mean, that nothing wrong with that. Let's start there. So
Okay.
rather than try and like rewind and stop and start, what I'll do is let's go through a phrase and then hit pause on your recording. We'll talk about what
Okay.
just happened. We'll talk about what's about to happen. That way we can save a little bit of the, rewinding and trying to find it on the app Compass there. Sound good? So before
Okay.
you start it, I want you to think about a couple of things and don't answer them out loud in words, answer them out loud in your performance. So,
Okay.
what brought you to the Cafe Momus this night? You know, it. We all know that Mozetta enters. It's either upstage left or upstage right or center, laughing and coming in. To le Mozetta. The whole chorus sees her come in. But I want you to come up with a very personal, real, meaningful reason why you showed up at the cafe. Is that a friend of yours saw Marcello earlier in the act, flirting with the two girls with whom he says he's going to sell his soul or his heart? Something that you can say, yep, I showed up here to teach this guy a lesson. Does that make sense? So
Mm-hmm.
start from that perspective and think very specifically. You have the introduction, but then you have those three bum, bum, bum before quando membo. Think really specific jabs, barbs, flaming arrows that you're sending at Marcello to really get his attention of thought like you can't help but look or can't take your eyes off me, something like that. That makes sense? Okay,
Yeah.
let's give that a try.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll stop like at first phrase. That way we'll get to start and stop as we go through.
Okay. Here, I'm gonna put my phone here so it's quicker access.
Okay.
Or actually, I like. Okay.
Cool. Nice job. How did that feel like leading into it, having a really strong perspective of why you're here and making those three chords meaningful to you?
It felt more like I had focus on him, like
Hmm.
that was driving me to decide, okay, I'm gonna stand here and start my stuff.
Hmm.
Like it was more about getting back at him than was originally thinking.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does, totally. And I mean, this is a
Okay.
challenge anywhere. I mean, anytime any artist is looking at an aria where not only do you have another character on stage, but you've got an entire chorus on stage and all the principals on stage with you to interact with. So not only are you not having that luxury, but you're also doing it singing with a recorded accompaniment, singing at a computer. So anything you can do to feel more connected to Marcello or to whoever it is that your character might be singing,
Mhm.
that's going to strengthen that. And I felt like it brought to life those little moments and that boom, boom, boom. I could see that something was going on. Like your eyes were alive. They were telling a story. And then when you breathed, if we pressed pause right there, we could already feel you going a certain direction. And that was really nice to see. It kind of drew us in. Now let's talk about the words. What do you say for everybody who doesn't know the opera super well or speak Italian? So the quando me vo, quando keep unpack that for us.
Yeah. So quando me vo, when I go out walking alone on the street, the people stop and stare at me. Is what
Okay.
that
And
is.
then quando me lo soletta per la via, right? So why do you say soletta?
Alone on the street to
Hmm.
show, I'm alone. People know that I'm available or single, maybe.
Yeah, and you also, I mean, there's a difference. You don't say like solo per la via, soletta
Soletta,
per la via.
cute
Like
little alone girl.
right, like a little bit alone plus like I'm a little bit enough. But there's like a little bit alone, but also if you think about Musetta and you think about what's about to come in the words in terms of everybody sees everything that's here and they wonder about my hidden beauties. You're displaying provocative, evocative, suggestive parts of you by saying soletta in a different way than you would with sola. And you could like, your
Mhm.
mouth is active, your tongue is active in a different way. So there's sort of like all these levels that only Marcello among all these people sitting there is going to see, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so there's all of that in there. All right, so keeping that in mind, what's next? Bum, 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 bum. And what do you say?
È la bellezza mia, my beauty.
Hmm.
Um, they admire all of my beauty.
Da capo a pie, right?
From my head to my toe. So
Great.
just all of me, they admire how beautiful all of
Yeah.
me is.
And so, would you agree that from quando until capo a pie, it's sort of like one big
One
thought,
thing,
right? But
yeah.
in the middle, I'd say soletta per la via, la gente sosta e mira, bum bum. It's like you renew the thought. So right now we're picking up mid thought here, but think about la gente sosta e mira. Okay, that got him, and now I'll pile on him with more. E la bellezza mia. So it's like you're just piling on that same thought. Does that make
Okay.
sense? So we'll try to get a running start at it. If you're able to slide back a little bit, so you can give yourself,
Oh,
you can plug into wherever you are in that phrase. But just
yeah.
think just like you filled the bum, bum, bum with thoughts, you can fill that da 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 e la bellezza. You can fill that with more thoughts. And
Okay.
keep thinking about, like we talked about, parts of your mouth that are active in the words and how that would be drawing him out more and more. Think about how that can come into play.
Okay. I reminded it. This is guessing. I don't know where we're gonna
All
end
good. Hey,
up.
it's our time. We'll roll with it.
Okay. Oh, that was it. Okay, let me go back. Sorry.
Good. No, that's okay. Let's try that. Let's see if we can get that much again.
Okay.
And And this time, like, tutta ricerca in me. And then you get the idea, ricerca me da capo a pie, right?
Okay.
So just like you got the idea to continue the thought into e la bellezza mia, get the idea, it's like you see it working. And that's the thing with Musetta and all
Mm.
characters. It's you do something or you say something to get something from a character, right? And if you do it and it works, and we see you see that it's working, and we see you just keep piling on and manipulating this guy, then it's like, we go along for the ride with you. And it's just that like little glimmer in your eye, that smile, that smirk, or that little like, oh, that got you, didn't it? Oh, I'm gonna keep doing more of that. That you keep piling on. Can we try to find that same ish spot and just
Yeah.
keep make those discoveries? Not only here where we're talking about it, but everywhere where no
Okay.
matter what character you're portraying, always be aware of you're saying and doing things to elicit a response from them. If
Okay.
you get it and you see you get it, then it gives you a sort of sense of power about how you layer on. If you don't get it, then you can say, this didn't work. What will I do? I'll try this new tactic. That's not necessarily Musetta in this moment, but those are sort of two ways that this can work out.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, here, see if you can rewind, and we'll make that happen.
Okay, we're gonna hope this is the right spot. Can I go back a little bit? I feel like I need time to really think
Yeah, of
about that.
course.
Okay.
Great. All right, so let's pause there for a moment. How did that feel just in terms of connecting those words? And it's such a small moment that you might not have thought before about connecting tutta ricerca me da capo a pied. Did it feel like it gave you a reason to repeat?
Yeah, I like the idea of sort of my eyes kind of glancing over at him to see if it was working and thinking, I got him. I
Totally.
like I like the idea of knowing that I'm getting him feeding me more. I don't know if that read from what I was doing, but
I think so, and I think it reads here on camera and online, and it's also going to read in a big hall someday. Someday we're going to get back. No matter what the size of the venue, this is one of those moments. Bohème ends in terrible tragedy, right?
Mhm.
But Puccini, being such a master of music theater, he gives you these ebbs and flows. He gives you this high comedy and terrible tragedy. In Act Four, the dudes are running around and sword fighting, and Marcello's dressed up as a girl. Everybody's having fun, and then he brings down the hammer, where Musetta runs in and says, "C'è mi, sul scale," all that, right? So he does this. So this to me is one of those moments where the audience falls in love with Musetta and Marcello, not because they're not flawed, but they see their flaws, and they see this innate comedy of like Chonard and Colline comment on with, this is hilarious. She's talking to Marcello. The old dude she's with thinks that she's talking to him,
Oh, poor
trying
guy.
to ignore her. This is great. And then you're over there saying, oh, those two jerks are laughing at me. So there's so much comedy, right? And so I
Mhm.
feel like not only is Marcello eating out of your hand in this moment, figuratively, the audience can be figuratively eating out of your hand too if they see you're having fun, and like you said, it just might be your eyes. If he's stage right of you, looking stage right. If he's stage left of you, looking stage left. But just sort of like, totally got you. Now, when we stopped here, we just got a couple of moments, and we'll wrap it all up. But when we stopped, Marcello says something. It's not in your part. It's not in your solo, but it's in the if you're looking at the whole vocal score. Do you know what he says here?
Um, Marcello.
Tutta ricerca me da capo. Yeah. And then he says, legatemi alla seggiola, like tie me to the chair, right?
So that he
And
won't.
yeah, and then Alcindoro over there under his breath is like, oh, alla gente che dirà, like, what are all these people gonna say, right? So you've got these two responses. And as the actress, and then with whatever director you're working with or input from the conductor, you can decide, do you hear it or do you not hear it? To me, I think it's pretty interesting if you hear Marcello. If you
Okay.
hear him say, legatemi alla seggiola, you know that you
It confirms that
yes,
I've.
yeah. Confirmation. So, tutta ricerca me da capo a pie, legatemi alla seggiola, I've got him so much. Then what do you say? Era sapor all'orla bramosia, right? So you really get into that. And it's like, it's more sensual. It's more personal. It's you can taste their desire, right? And so you're like, ha ha, I'm just doling out all of this stuff that's going to make you want me more. So
Okay.
it's like you gain more power. Does that make sense? And
Yes.
so it just puts Musetta in this wonderful position that you're just like basking in the glory, not only of how these people make you feel, but also like, ha ha. Because then after that, you get to what? E tu che sai, right? You who
You
know,
know.
right? Che le memorie ti strugge, like you can't get rid of me, right? Like the
Mhm.
memory of this is choking you, and you just can't run away. So it's this great comedy. So let's
Mhm.
rewind a little bit.
Okay.
Let's ramp up that whole thing, and just take a moment before you start and think about all of those little transition moments, all the times when you're going to look at Marcello, when you're going to see his reaction, the power, the feel good that that gives you just knowing that you've got him right where you want him. And it's sort of like a cat playing with a little mouse, right? Just like, ha ha ha. Oh, you're going to run away? Nope, I've got you. Come back here. Let me play with you a little more. So it's that kind of feel.
Okay.
You want to rewind a little bit, and we'll let it go through to the end.
Okay. Where should I start from?
You know what? It's short. You want to give the whole thing a shot?
Sure.
Let's try that. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Hold on. I'm processing.
that's okay. Take a
Lot-
moment.
Oh.
Okay. It's a lot. It's a lot to process, a lot of things, but this moment to moment thought work. I mean, especially with the theatrical master like Puccini, there's so much there. There's so much in a lot of composers, but Puccini especially really, he said about himself that he wrote for the theater. He really understood it. And it's like it's all there just to discover, and it's so subtle. And it's maybe one of the things that's unique about the times we're in, where we're on the internet, everything's close. We can read your, expressions very well in maybe a closer way than we could in most live performance situations. But
Mhm.
it's a chance to lean into that and play with it. All right, have fun.
Okay. Quando vedo soletto per la via, la gente sosta in mira,
Very nice. How did that feel?
It felt better.
Like,
Definitely things that I need to keep trying to include, you
yeah,
know,
and
things we talked about.
it's always a working process, right? You know,
Right. Yeah.
it's always a challenge to change things in the middle of doing it. It's why masterclass settings can be so complicated because um, you're trying to change things on the fly. You're nervous. You're trying to do it. You're trying to think about it. You know, a lot of
Mhm.
stuff there. Also, you're a little bit removed.
Yeah.
Something I think would be helpful to you is, and I recommend this for all things, um, take the language away from the music a little bit
Yeah.
and look at the language. Treat it like a monologue for a little bit. You know, you know the aria well, so you know the rhythms, you know the phrasing, so you know where you're leaning into and where you're pushing and where you're pulling. But I think you know some of the accented syllables need a little more attention. Some of the double
Yeah.
consonants, and then I think if you think along the lines of Musetta's power and growing power and just satisfaction with herself getting the reactions from Marcello that she wants, then you can think about, oh yeah, that's why I'm leaning in here. That's why that double consonant is here. Oh, that's why that soletta per la via. That's why that moment is there. And you can really start to think about all those moments and just really, it's like an enjoyable, painful suffering that you're dragging Marcello through. That makes sense?
Yes, I like those ideas a lot.
Awesome.
Thank
Well,
you
it's
so much.
absolutely. It's great to see you. See you. Great to hear you. Great to work with you. Congratulations to you and your teacher doing all the great work. You with Jane Dutton, right, at IU? So congratulations to you and Jane. Great to see you. Great to hear you. And just stick around. We'll bring you back to say goodbye. We'll bring Baajah back here, and we'll work on her aria. And we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks, Juliana.
Okay, thank
Thank you. Hi, Baajah.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
All right. So introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, where you're studying, what you're going to perform, etc.
My name is Baajah Mohammed. I'm originally from North Carolina, but I'm living in Baltimore right now. I just graduated from the Peabody Conservatory just a mere 2 days ago. Um, yeah, and I will be singing Tornami a vagheggiare from Handel's Alcina.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your graduating 2 days ago. And you said that you shared with me right before we pushed live here to Facebook that you were supposed to be performing in Alcina today. Is that
Yes,
true?
today.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know it's not the same, but at least we're getting to performance in some way on this day. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, have fun. I'll see you in a moment and
Ooh.
enjoy.
Tornami a vagheggiar, ti sono vol'amor, quest'anima fedel, caro mio bene. Caro, tornami a vagheggiar, tornami a vagheggiare. Te solo volonor, quest'anima fedel, caro mio bene. Te solo volonor, Já te donai meu cor, já te donai meu cor, fino sarai mio amor, mai ti sarò crudel, caro mio bene, mai ti sarò crudel, fino sarai mio amor, mai ti sarò crudel, cara mia spine, cara mia spine. Tornami a vagheggiare, ti solo vuol amare, quest'anima fedele, caro mio bene. Caro, tornami a vagheggiare, tornami a vagheggiare. Ti solo vuol amar, ti solo vuol amar, quest'anima fedele, caro mio bene. Ti solo vuol amar, quest'anima fedele, caro mio bene. Caro mio bene.
Very nice. Nice work.
Thanks.
So, same thing as a similar thing I said to Giuliana. When you're working already in a situation that's a little artificial, like a master class where you're performing and working on it, plus you have the extra artifice of being online and you have recorded piano. It could be a lot of distractions, and I think you did a really nice job of creating a moment, staying with it. You seemed really engaged in all of the preludes, the interludes, the postlude. You could really see that you were thinking in character thoughts and not just tuning out. The rookie mistake of okay, my words, my words, my words, blah 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 blah, blah my words, my. But you were really tuned into everything, and it led to each other. So nice job. Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
How you feeling?
I feel okay about it. I've always done this with an accompanist,
Hmm.
so I've been able to cut to three bars before all of these entrances, and so I think in in this iteration of it, because I am using this track, I guess I'm trying to elongate the moment a little bit more.
Hmm.
But I felt like in that performance, it got a little bit so I feel like Morgana is a little like coquettish, but I feel like I was getting a little bit to like the childish like part of it. Like it was like
Right,
a
like trying to fill the space.
yeah.
And if this is the first time or one of the first times that you have because you're used to, as you said, cutting to 3 bars or so, it was good. It was good work on the fly. So let's let's unpack who she is a little bit. So this aria is for Morgana. Sometimes it's sung by Alcina. We can talk about that a little bit later about how the perspective might change. But let's imagine that you are the character Morgana. You're singing this. Share with me what's going on at this moment. Why are you singing this? What's just happened?
So there's just been like a fiasco and tensions are a bit high. And so I'm after um Ricardo. Well, there's Ricardo and Ruggiero.
Yeah,
I'm
Ricciardo,
after
Ruggiero.
I'm after
Ricciardo.
Ricardo, yes. And
Hmm.
so basically they've told me that they love someone, and I assume that it's me, and so I am smitten with this person, and so in my performance they leave
Mm-hmm.
in the B after I've, and then that gives a little bit more purpose to return to me, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I am with it.
And when they go away, for the Handel aria, typical structure A B A. You say some words, you then transition to different music and different words that give you a new perspective on the words you said in the A section, and you go back to the A section. Not only do you repeat, but you have ornaments and you have a different perspective on the A. So for you and your interpretation as Morgana, what is your interpretation of the A section words? You don't have to repeat them, but just okay, I say this and this is what it means, and then I explore it or I encounter the text in a different way in the B section, and that gives me this newly informed perspective when I go back to A. So how would you outline that?
So I think that in the A section, it's a little bit of like some cat and mouse, a little flirtation, like not return to me as much as like come to me, like let's be together physically. Um, and then the B section is where I'm feeling some rejection from the A section, and so then the A prime is where I'm actually literally saying, please, return to me where you've come. And then in that play out, I kind of, because I mean, obviously the story doesn't end there. I wanted to kind of like allude to the fact that like, that she will keep trying or something like that, or she's going to go back to him, or
Mm-hmm.
go find him on the island or something.
All right. Well, let's look at it in those sections, and so you don't have to do a lot of rewinding and stopping and trying to find. Let's go to the beginning. We'll work through the A section, and then let's pause, and
Okay.
then maybe we'll just rewind it a little bit, and then we'll chat about the A section, and then we'll have a running start into the B section. We'll stop at the end of the B section, maybe rewind it a little bit, so you have a running start into the A. But let's think about how many times do you have to say "Tornami a vagheggiare"? How many times do you have to say that?
Um,
You're just in the A prime, or they're just in the A section rather.
I think three.
All right, so let's say three. So whether or not it's if you discover more or less doesn't matter. But with Handel, it's this classic challenge of you have to say something more than once, and we all know okay if you repeat text, it has to be different.
Mhm.
It's louder, it's softer, it's higher, it's lower, it's shorter, or it lasts for a longer time. And so Handel defines all those things for you. And so we know that it has to be different, but let's take it to the next level. So you said that in your interpretation, you're thinking that you're thinking of the like come to me
Mhm.
type of a thing.
Right.
So think of don't speak them out loud, and it could be rated whatever you want from G to R plus. But think about why you want Ricciardo to come to you, and then when you get to the te solo vuol amar quest'anima fedel. I only want to be faithful to your soul, right? Generally speaking, think
Mhm.
about what it is that you're going to do when he comes to you,
Right.
and let that inform it. And each time, don't just think about different degrees of what you want to do. Think about three distinct different things, so that when you breathe for the first tornami a vagheggiare, like it has a certain energy, and then
Mhm.
all the way through te solo vuol amar quest'anima fedel, and then oh yeah, you like that, sort of like we were talking about with Musetta. It's like oh yeah, you should come on over to me because of this reason. Oh, you like that more? I thought so. And you should come over to me because of this reason. You think you've got him where you want him, and then he leaves. And then that's where we'll pause, and then we'll unpack the B section a little bit. That make sense? All right, let's give that
Yes.
a try.
Tornami a vagheggiare, Ti solo volo quest'anima fedele caro mio bene caro mio bene.
Very nice. How did that feel?
It felt better. It felt a little like I could have more range with it,
Yeah.
go further or like back, you know.
Yeah, it was a first step. I would say it felt, it looked and it felt, at least through the screen, more structured. You know,
Mhm.
like you had a thought in your mind related to what you were about to say and why you were about to say it. And then with all of the melismas and jumps and all the notes and rhythms and everything that Handel gives you, then you could start to make them each more and more meaningful.
Mhm.
Something we didn't talk about is all the times you get to the caro mio bene, because you hang out on the caro, which means, what does that mean?
Oh, sorry, my dear.
Oh yeah, like yeah, dear my beloved, my,
Yeah, yeah.
it's good, it's flattering, it's all of those things. So you say it different ways. So you now need to think about really connecting that, because you had like three and a half tornemi a vagheggiare. So like there's the first one, and then you sort of say it again, but then it jumps right to caro mio bene and all that stuff. So if you take a moment, we'll rewind. Let's rewind and do that just the beginning again. But take a few moments and start to think now about not only each of those times it repeats, but then when you say te solo vol amar quest'anima fedel caro mio bene, that caro mio bene comes back a couple of different times, right? And sometimes it's hanging out on caro, and sometimes it's caro mio bene, and it's moving around. So think about all the things related to all the various reasons why you wanted him to come to you. Then you can think about, oh yeah, and this is what's going to happen, and that's what's going to happen, and this is what we can do, so that you can really play with that. And again, you're never giving away your secrets to the audience. Like this is way more secrets than the audience would ever have.
Mhm.
So they're never probably ever going to be able to come up to you and say, "Oh, I could see exactly you were thinking of doing this in this moment." But they'll be able to say, "Oh, wow, you really drew me in to the story," and then they'll be able to, you know, infer and attach their own meanings as they're seeing the staging and what you're doing and all of that coming together. So take a
Right.
couple of moments, rewind. Let's go back through that, and not only think about now the specific times when you get to the tornami, but also how how are you using that caro mio bene and that whole te
Mhm.
solo vuole amar. There's a lot of stuff you can really lean into there. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? I'm
Yeah.
trying not. We're on Facebook, so I'm trying not to be too explicit with the things. But that's the nice thing. I mean, opera is a it's an interesting art form. It can appeal for its musical and lyrical beauty on face value, but there's like layer after layer after layer. So think about it. Make interesting, exciting choices for you. See them in your mind's eye, and just breathe in the reality of them, and just share them with us as you go.
Gotcha.
Sound good? All right, let's give that a shot.
Tornami a vagheggiar, ti solo volo amor, quest'anima fedele, caro mio bene. Tornami a vagheggiar, tornami a vagheggiare. Ti solo vuol amar, ti solo vuol amar, quest'anima fedele, caro mio bene. Ti solo vuol
Very nice. How did that feel?
I felt a little bit better. I'm feeling a little bit hesitant of how far to take it in increments, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I
Yeah,
think
like I
like you don't want to spend all of the dramatic fuel you have on one try.
right. And then by the time, we're at the end, I'm like, oh well maybe I could have like given a little bit more.
Yeah,
So
and
I think maybe just
that
a
makes
little bit
sense.
more
Yeah,
far.
and maybe something that could help. We'll try it one more time, but maybe something that'll help frame that is don't worry about how big the gesture is that you're making. Make an equally big gesture or try to top it, but thinking of something else. Like,
Mm,
I am thinking about the most exciting reason I want you to come over to me here now. Oh, that'd be awesome. Ooh. But this would be even better and it's like so totally awesome. Awesome.
mhm,
But I just thought of something even more exciting. And now I'm going to say that now. And so that it doesn't have to be a matter of, you know, exciting, medium exciting, large exciting. It could be like the largest exciting, the biggest fantastic, the most ginormous super awesome.
right.
So it's all different superlatives of greatness, if that makes sense.
Mhm,
So keep that with you, and then the last thing for this A section, it's like Handel. You could make a whole semester out of, right? Like a
mhm.
whole work on it for a year. Until I whip out every aria, probably. Um, all of the coloratura you've got. Like moments where you're bouncing around between the notes, moments where and landing, and like the way you land, why you lean into those notes, what does that like make them all really meaningful. And thinking about what you just said and really reveling in it. Oh, and it's gonna be so fun and great. I can't wait. Like that type of, if you could make a internal character dialogue or monologue as you were singing that, sometimes it would sound silly, but at least if it's tuned into what you're thinking, it'll make those moments of coloratura really come to life.
Mhm.
So try to like internal monologue on that, like really think about what's bringing that to life. All right, so let's go to the beginning. We'll try that just to get to the B section, then we'll bring Giuliana back in a moment and kind of wrap everything up.
Okay, sounds good. Tornami a vagheggiarti solo volamar quest'anima fedele, caro mio bene, caro, tornami a vagheggiar, tornami a vagheggiare. Ti solo vuol amar, ti solo vuol amar, quest'anima fedele, caro mio bene. Ti solo vuol amar, quest'anima fedele, caro mio bene. Caro mio bene. Tornami a vagheggiare. Te solo vuole amar, te solo vuole amar. Questa anima fedele, caro mio bene. Te solo vuole amar. Questa anima fedele, caro mio bene. Caro mio bene.
Very nice work.
Thank
How'd that
you.
feel?
It felt good. I think I have some better ideas on what how to like expand this.
Good, good. Yeah, I mean, and it's we only really started to unpack the first A section,
Mm.
but hopefully what it did was when you got to the B section and realized that you were fighting for somebody not to leave, that it cost more when they left, because the more you invest in the come to me, come to me, come to me, and then if you spent all that you think you have and they still leave, then it leaves you with a greater despair
Mm.
rather than like, oh, I didn't really try that hard or I didn't exert that much energy and they left. How did it feel the first time you said that it felt maybe a little, I don't know if the word coquettish, but like too young,
Yeah,
too whatever? Like, did this feel a little more real and like rooted
yeah,
into
much
where
more.
you're going?
Yeah, I think that was partially also why it was a little bit more difficult, I think, to vary the emotions because now it's not like, you know, like stock emotion or not that it was necessarily, but like it's a little bit like more realistic and so like finding
Mhm.
variety in realistic emotions like is a little bit more cool.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, the more time you spend with it, and just you're an artist with something to say, and the more you think about it, and what does it mean, and why do I want them to come to me, and what am I thinking about, and how can I phrase it, and how can I say it, and what am I seeing in my mind's eye, and I have a relationship with that, and now when I breathe, you're breathing with the passion and the purpose and the intention of what you've already related to, and if we press pause in your performance, it's like we're already on the edge of our seats because we feel it. Like we were feeling it with you, and then we expect where you go, right? And it's that thing that sometimes lacks in a singing acting performance where the breath is a beautiful breath, the tone is a beautiful tone, but it's not really connected to what are you saying and doing and why are you saying and doing it? What are you trying to get? And I
Mm-hmm.
think the more time that you can grapple with that, the stronger that connection will come. And then all of the gestures you're making in your coloratura will start to be really meaningful. Um, and then something else just to look at, I mentioned to Giuliana to pull the text out and treat it like a monologue. It'll give you time to really start to think about what you're saying and why, and you can kind of break out and bracket those phrases in the music and write out your beats and your beat changes. But also just give a little attention. It might be the zoom. Sometimes your T's sound a little too like aspirated, like rather than like a dentalized te, tam, or like in that ti, donai. And every once in a while, the word caro, you're accidentally rolling the R
Mm-hmm.
every once in a while. So if you just treat it like a very lightly voiced consonant D, caro, it won't roll on you. But just a couple teeny tiny. It could just be Zoom and or Facebook. But really nice work, Juliana. Let me bring you back on here. Um, all right. Well, thank you both. Thank you, Baajah. Thank you, Giuliana. It's been a pleasure working with you. It's restorative to the soul to do some kind of creative work.
For sure.
Since the semester ended, not had a chance to do a lot, so it's Nice to see you all. Haven't seen you in a while. I guess Juliana, we saw each other when I was in Indianapolis, so it's good to see you here virtually in Baajah. It's been a few years, so it's great to see you and hear you. Congratulations to you. And who's your teacher at Peabody?
I'm working with Peggy Baruti and Denise Graves.
Well, congratulate them. I don't know Peggy. Say hi to Denise from me.
Of course.
But congratulations on your great work. Yeah, congratulations to you both and to your teachers. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see you next Friday at 6. So, ladies, have a lovely evening. I think it's a holiday weekend we're coming to here. All the days sort of blur in, but everybody stay safe. Happy holiday, and we'll hope to see you live soon. Thank you.